Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. If you're going to dig a hole, make sure you're not standing in it yourself. Today in the rLounge, some exes just don't know when to quit. Am I the a-hole for getting my ex-boyfriend fired after he tried to get me kicked out of my midwifery course and sabotage my current relationship? I never imagined I'd find myself in the middle of something like this, but here we are. I'm genuinely starting to wonder if I might be in the wrong, and I could really use an outside perspective. This one's a bit of a long ride because the context matters. All names have been changed for privacy and, well, to avoid any potential legal drama. Also, sorry for any spelling or grammar errors. I'm dyslexic. I have removed a duplicate paragraph I completely skipped over while making edits for clarity. Thank you to the commenter who noticed. So, a bit of background. About 2.5 years ago, January 2023, I, 24 now, had just ended things with my ex, Adam, now 26 male. We'd been together for about 1.5 years at the time. There were several reasons for the breakup. The biggest one was his complete lack of respect for my education. I've always taken my studies seriously. I earned a first-class honors degree in history and archaeology, and I'm currently working toward another degree in midwifery, which will make more sense as the story unfolds. Adam, on the other hand, was openly hostile about my academic choices. He hated the idea of spending money on education and constantly belittled me for wasting my time on something he considered pointless. He'd done his A-levels and went straight into working as a cook. Last I'd heard before everything that follows, he was on track to become a top chef at a highly regarded restaurant. At the time of our breakup, I had no idea I was already 8 weeks pregnant. I was on the pill, which had significantly lightened my periods. I wasn't getting cramps anymore, and any bleeding was just spotting or sometimes nothing at all. I know birth control isn't 100% effective, but between the pill and using condoms consistently, I really thought the chances were pretty low. Beyond this, I didn't have any obvious symptoms either, just a bit of fatigue I chalked up to being nacked from working on my dissertation. Life went on as normally as it could in the weeks following the breakup. I was, of course, upset. Heartbreak is never easy, but I kept myself distracted, pouring my energy into writing what turned out to be an incredible dissertation on early modern burial sites and funeral traditions. Not to brag, but the highest mark in my degree cohort. But then, about 2 weeks after the breakup, everything changed. One evening, I was suddenly hit with the most intense pain I had ever felt. I started cramping severely and bleeding heavily. It was terrifying. My housemate walked in, took one look at me, and immediately went into action. She got me into her car, called my mom, and rushed me to the nearest A&E. That's where I found out I was 10 weeks pregnant and that I had miscarried. I was in complete shock and absolutely heartbroken. Adam was the baby's father, and despite everything, I felt he had the right to know. So I reached out to him. Instead of any kind of support or understanding, he exploded. He accused me of cheating, said I was making the whole thing up just to try and win him back, as I had finally realized that he was right the entire time about my education. Needless to say, I hung up on him. Thankfully, the midwife who overheard the conversation, who we'll call Emma, female 28 now, was incredible. She was so kind, reassured me that I hadn't done anything wrong, and took the time to walk me through what had happened, what to expect next, and where to find support. She stayed with me throughout my entire time at the hospital, offering genuine compassion to every patient she interacted with, no matter the situation. We kept in touch after I was discharged and actually became good friends. Watching her work, listening to her stories, and experiencing her empathy firsthand completely changed my perspective. It was because of her that I started seriously considering a career in labor and delivery. After I graduated, I got a job and decided to return to the local 6th from college to take A-level in biology and chemistry, both essential for applying to midwifery programs in nearby universities. It's been a lot of work over 2 years, but it's all been worth it. Right now, I've got 2 offers on the table, and if I get the grades, I'll be starting my midwifery degree this September. Throughout all of this, Emma's been an incredible support. She's been helping me build a solid foundation, teaching me basic skills, including first aid, and guiding me through the early steps of what's to come. On top of everything, I've also started seeing someone new, Brian, 25 male. He's honestly been amazing. We met about 2 months ago, and things moved quickly between us, but in the best way. In such a short time, he's become a real source of strength for me. He's my rock. He's constantly cheering me on as I work toward my new goals, asking thoughtful questions, and helping me reconnect with parts of myself that I'd lost after everything that happened with Adam. Brian knows about my miscarriage and fully understands that I need time and space with certain things. He's been incredibly patient and supportive, giving me the kind of love and care I only wish I'd had before. That leads us onto the events of late. About 3 weeks ago, I got a call from one of the lecturers who had interviewed me for my midwifery application. They told me the university had received several complaints via email from a concerned citizen, claiming I was mentally unfit to work with new mothers and newborns. When I asked for more details, the lecturer explained that someone had accused me of being sectioned after my miscarriage, saying I was a danger to myself and others. A complete lie. They went so far as to question my ability to care for others, reportedly saying, she couldn't keep her own baby alive, how can she look after someone else's? I was absolutely floored. That level of cruelty hit me like a punch to the chest. I explained to the lecturer that while I had been deeply affected by the miscarriage, I sought help through therapy, family, friends, and local support groups. At no point was I ever sectioned, nor was I considered a risk to myself or anyone else. Thankfully, I was able to collect the necessary medical documentation and clear everything up. The university closed the matter. At the time, I had no idea who would say and do something so vile. That is, until last week. Last week, Brian received an email from an unknown sender about me. The message repeated the same cruel accusations that had been sent to my university. It claimed I was an unfit girlfriend, that I had lied about where I'd been over the past 2 years, and that I'd actually been in a mental health facility the whole time. It even went as far as saying I couldn't take care of him because I couldn't keep a baby alive. Brian was furious. As soon as I got home, he showed me the email and immediately reassured me. He told me he believed me completely because I had been honest with him from the very beginning. He held me, comforted me, and made it crystal clear that whoever sent that message didn't know the first thing about the person I really am. Once I'd calmed down, Brian started doing some digging into where the email had come from. It didn't take long for him to trace it back to a local restaurant. When I compared it to the email my university had received, I'd managed to get a printed copy, we realized both had come from the same sender. I began mentally running through the list of people who knew about my miscarriage and had any connection to that restaurant, and only one name came to mind: Adam. Out of curiosity, we checked his LinkedIn, and sure enough, he's been working at the exact restaurant for the past 2 years. Brian, my mom, and I decided to go there in person. We asked to speak with the manager and the owner and presented them with copies of both emails, along with the dates and times they were sent. We asked point blank why someone from their business would send such vile, personal messages designed to sabotage my future education and career. They were completely shocked. Both insisted they had no idea the emails had been sent and said they absolutely hadn't come from them personally. That's when we explained the situation, my history with Adam, the miscarriage, and everything that happened since. As we spoke, the manager suddenly went pale. He recalled that during both of those time frames, Wednesday lunch shifts, Adam would have been left alone in the office to submit a food order using the staff computer. They checked their email logs, and sure enough, both messages were sitting in the sent folder, time-stamped during Adam's solo office time. The manager and owner were incredibly apologetic. They offered to contact the university on my behalf to clarify what had happened and said they would handle the situation with Adam internally. Later, I found out Adam had been fired, and even blacklisted from a few local restaurants. Not long after that, he began posting online, claiming that Brian and I were out to ruin his life and destroy his reputation by turning him into a social outcast. Honestly, I was left feeling really guilty about the whole situation. As much as I knew Adam was in the wrong, part of me just needed closure, some understanding of why he did what he did. So I reached out and asked if we could meet to talk things through, clear the air, and maybe get some kind of resolution. We met that morning at our local Starbucks. Brian came along too, sitting at a nearby table just in case things took a turn. At first, it was the usual small talk. Hi, how have you been? And nice weather today. That kind of thing. After a few minutes, I got straight to the point. I looked him in the eye and asked him directly, why? Why send those emails? What did he think he'd gain? His answer left me speechless. He told me he'd heard from natural acquaintances that I was about to start my midwifery degree, and in his words, he thought he would save me from taking on unnecessary debt and instead help me build a future, with him proving to the world that we didn't need universities or higher education. He admitted that his goal was to sabotage my plans and then win me back, saying I was the best thing that had ever happened to him. I was stunned. I reminded him that the last time we spoke, he'd accused me of cheating, that he abandoned me emotionally when I needed him the most, and that he had point blank used it to try and ruin my future. He told me to drop the miscarriage sob story and that All I had to do to be with him again was ask. That was it for me. I told him I never wanted to see him again. I told him that I would block him on everything, got a restraining order if he came close to me again, and to consider himself lucky that I hadn't gone public with everything he'd done. I made it clear that I didn't need his permission or his twisted version of help to live my life. If he had truly cared, he would have supported me from the beginning, just like Brian has. And there was no way I'd ever leave Brian. Not for him, not anyone. After this, Adam left. As he walked away, he said I was just as bad as him, and that I'd stooped to his level to ruin his life, and that he hoped that would haunt me forever. Now I'm torn. On one hand, Adam made his own bed. He misused his workplace's resources to try and sabotage my future. He made a calculated, cruel decision, and now he's facing the consequences of that. I never set out to get him fired. That was entirely his employer's call. On the other hand, I can't help but question whether going to his workplace was the right move. Maybe I could have confronted him privately first. Honestly, I was scared he wouldn't stop and would eventually succeed in ruining everything I've worked for. I felt like I needed to protect myself. Still, even with everyone around, Brian, Emma, my family, my friends, reassuring me that I did nothing wrong, I can't shake Adam's words. They linger. They make me wonder if I really did stoop to his level. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Ask the question, get some answers. First response, not the a-hole. He expected to be able to set your life on fire and come crawling back to him. He still has no sympathy for the loss you have experienced and would continue to demonstrate the same if this happened again. Keeping your peace and pursuing a passion does not make you anything like him. Please document everything in case he escalates. The next opinion, not the a-hole. He attacked, you protected. He acted, you reacted. See the difference? If he didn't come at you, you wouldn't have had anything to respond to. But lastly, this red pill MFer is not done with you, in my opinion. He's been ruminating on you all these years and has ideations that mean he will not give up until he believes he wins at all costs. I wouldn't let your guard down just yet. If I was in your position, I would take this to the police and create a paper trail of what he's done. The police will not jump in and press charges because you filed the report. You can even let them know you don't want to press and want them to know in case something else happens. If he does anything at all again, you will have this information already on file and the police will hopefully act swiftly because of it. The OP replies, thank you for the comment. Honestly, I think this may be my best course of action now. I don't trust Adam to not try this again. He will escalate and try again. I just know it. I know they won't be able to do much. I can't get a restraining order as it's all digital, not physical. And I don't want to go to the legal route where possible, as I don't have the money for that. But having the police report would put my mind at ease and add to my paper trail. Update. Hey all. I thought I would just post with a short update, especially after reading all of your comments. Thank you to everyone who left a comment and advice. I do really appreciate it. Again, apologies about bad spelling, grammar, formatting. I'm dyslexic. I ended up going to the police and filing a report, but I made it clear I wasn't planning to press charges. I just wanted to make sure the evidence was officially documented. The officer I spoke to was honestly amazing. They walked me through documenting everything properly and explained a few options I could consider if I ever change my mind or if the situation gets worse. But in short, getting a restraining order, it's pretty unlikely. Like I mentioned in a comment, Adam isn't physically harassing me. He's not showing up at my house or work or anything like that. It's all been online harassment. That said, I could possibly pursue a harassment injunction or even a defamation case. The problem is, I don't exactly have the money for a lawyer right now since I'm paying for my degree and tuition out of pocket. But it's definitely something I'll keep in mind for the future. If Adam tries anything like this again, I won't hesitate to press formal charges. As for Adam, Brian and I have completely blocked on everything. No way for him to reach us. I do have one friend, who he doesn't know exists, keeping an eye on his socials, just in case he posts something or gets another job we should be aware of, but so far, he's been radio silent. As for me, I've decided to stop moping around and feeling sorry for myself. I didn't do anything wrong here. Adam dug his own grave. I'm a badass woman with an amazing partner. I support family and friends, and bright futures ahead. I'm not about to let some petty idiot get the better of me, especially with university decisions coming up next Thursday. Thank you all so much for the support. If anyone's interested, I'd be happy to post an update next Thursday with how my A-level results go and what happens with my university offers. I'm pretty confident I'll at least get into my insurance choice. Update. Hey all. Firstly, my A-levels. I passed both. I got 2 Bs, which I'm absolutely over the moon about. Unfortunately, I missed the grades for my top choice, but I was accepted by my insurance choice. Ironically, my old alma mater, and even received a grant. I officially started in September and I can't wait. Now about Adam. Turns out there was so much I actually didn't know when I originally went into Adam's work. However, his former manager kept in touch with me and provided me an update that he thought would put my mind at ease. So, it turns out Adam has been arrested on unrelated theft charges. I can't go into too much detail since I don't have permission to share everything, but I can say that there were multiple reasons behind his dismissal. My complaint, stealing from the company, a terrible attitude, and more. My complaint was simply the final straw. From what I've heard, the charges could land him in prison, so it's safe to say he's no longer going to be my problem. As for me, I'm off to start catching babies and being the best midwife I can, while Adam deals with the consequences of his actions. I'm heading to brunch to celebrate with the people I love and to start preparing for the next chapter. Thank you all for following along, and I wish you nothing but the best. I'm so glad you have Brian, your family, and friends supporting you, and that you've been able to focus on your goals despite everything Adam threw at you. You did absolutely nothing wrong. He made his own choices, and they caught up with him in the end. You don't owe him any closure. Your focus is on yourself, your goals, and the people who truly matter in your life. I'm so happy for you that you passed your A-levels and got into midwifery. You've worked your butt off, and now you get to start this amazing next chapter doing something that really matters. Time to celebrate. Embrace your accomplishments and keep moving forward. You've earned it. Have you ever dealt with an ex who just couldn't let go? And how did you handle it? Let us know below. And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.